If you want some FIFA 23 coins, please check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable, and if you use code Rema you can get yourself a 5% discount. So what's up guys, my name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel guys. If you are sick of losing to players with a 5-back formation, or you're just not finding it that easy to attack and win games in FIFA 23, then do not worry. I've got some 4-2-2 tactics that will really help you out, I can promise you that. Just before we get started though guys, I would very much appreciate it if you guys could drop a thumbs up on the video, as that really helps me out. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos like this one. And with all that aside guys, let's get right into these tactics. So these are the tactics that I use for the 4-2-2 most of the time, okay? And we're just going to talk through all of the tactics, and then we're going to go look at the player instructions as well. So for defensive style guys, I use press after possession loss, because the 4-2-2 with the 4 attacking players are very good at pressing when you lose the ball in attack, because there's 4 of them and they're nice and spread out across the front of the pitch. When you do lose the ball, you have like a nice coverage, so it's very easy to press, and you can actually score some easy goals by winning the ball back in these positions. Now for the width guys, because it is a more narrow formation, I like to have it on 40 when defending. Now this also helps, you know, defending, because people like to play through the middle a lot of the time, so by having it on 40, you know, you're a lot more compact and it's harder to play through the middle. It's also not so narrow that when people do go down the wing, you don't have anyone there, so you know, it's got that nice width which you guys should be good with. Now for depth guys, I like to have this on 60, because again this formation is very solid defensively, especially with the 2 CDMs, so you can afford to have that higher depth, which allows you to push higher up the pitch. This is also very good with press after possession loss, and it's also very good if you have like lengthy players at the back. So having it on 60 allows you to not get boxed in, and it allows you to put your opponent under a lot more pressure. Now, for build-up play, guys, I just like to leave this on balance, because I feel like fast build-up is a little bit too quick. If you're playing against a decent player, you know, you might struggle to break them down, because it's very easy to read a lot of the time. And if you're playing with like a delayed connection, yeah, this won't go too well. Slow build-up, a little bit too slow, and long ball, I don't really like it. I feel like you get caught out too much. So I just leave this on balance, so you can have a mixture between building up quickly and slowly. Now for chance creation, I always suggest using direct passing guys, and the reason for this is because, like I've said in many of my other tactics videos, if you look at the diagram in the bottom right hand corner, you can see the attacking players, the white dots, move around a lot more than, let's say, if they're unbalanced. You can see they're quite static and they don't actually make many runs to, you know, break down the defensive line. The same with possession, they do move around a little bit, but not into the areas that you would want. So, you know, a lot of the time you'll be knocking it around, and that's not very good for this formation, because it's meant to be quite, you know, quick in attack, and you're meant to be able to cut through people. Forward runs, again, some people like this, but I don't really like it, because I feel like it forces your opponent into like a drop back state. So essentially when you have forward runs on, you know, it's very difficult to get in behind, because for some reason your opponent's centre backs go very far back. So I like using it on direct passing, because you get the nice amount of movement. Now for attacking width, I like to bump this up to 45, because I like to attack a little bit wider than I defend. That's just me, but again, it's also not too wide, but having that extra bit of width means the cams don't sit too close to your strikers, but they're also not pushed out too wide, so they get into those nice pockets of space, which is very useful. Players in box, this one is down to preference. I like to have this on 6, because again, if you look at the diagram in the bottom right hand corner, you have quite a few players in the box, but you always have a couple of players hanging outside the box. So let's say your opponent clears it, you always have those 2 players to pick it up and stop you getting counter-attacked. Corners and free kicks, again, this is down to preference. I just like to have this on 2, because again, you have a few players in the box, but you also have quite a few back, so you don't get counter-attacked too easily. Now for the players you want to use guys, I like to use one out-and-out CDM. So for example, Patrick Vieira, he's very defensive and good at what he does. And then for example, Kevin De Bruyne is a more active CDM, you know. He's still got okay defensive stats, but he's one which will be more able to roam. So you've got one proper CDM and one more attacking-minded CDM, which can still defend, of course. Obviously, fullbacks are down to preference. For the two cams, I like to have more, you know, like winger-style players. That's why I started in a 4-2-4, because it allows you to get wingers in. I feel like you need like more agile, quicker players in these cam positions. For your two strikers, you can have like lengthy players like Haaland or Sorloth, or you could have some explosive players. It's down to what you guys prefer, but I like having two bigger strikers up top with more agile cams, but that's just me. Now for player instructions, guys, I like to have my strikers on stay central, and that's because I don't want them drifting off too wide. That is the job of my two cams here, Anthony and Depay. So by having them on stay central, you keep a nice structure in your formation. I don't like putting it on getting behind because I find like it doesn't really work that well, and your strikers still seem to get in behind anyway at the right time. So, you know, I actually feel like putting too many settings on restricts them, so I leave them alone. Now for my cams, guys, I just have them on get into the box for cross. That's because like Trivela crosses and crossing in general is very good in FIFA 23. So if you have these two players on get into the box for cross, let's say your cross is slightly inaccurate, it can always go to them at the back post. So you always have extra options when crossing, and it's very hard to defend. I have that on both cams, and that is all I have for them. Now for one CDM, guys, the one that is more defensive minded, in my case it is Patrick Vieira. I like to have them on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover centre, because that means they'll sit just in front of your defensive line and break up the play. That is exactly what you want. Cut passing lanes is by far the best option. If you have both your CDMs on balanced attack, you know, your defense can be left very exposed, so I don't suggest it. Now for your more attacking minded CDM, I just put them on cut passing lanes and cover center, but you'll see I leave them on balanced attack because that gives them you know, more of a free roam when your team is attacking, and it gives you an extra transition between defense and offense. So De Bruyne can act as a defender and an attacker, which can help, you know, get the play going a little bit more. But obviously he still comes back to defend when required. Now for my two fullbacks, I just leave these on stay back while attacking, because I feel like if you have them on join the attack, it is way too easy for your opponent to play in down the wings and pretty much rip you apart. And another good thing with stay back while attacking is if in game you do want to, you know, maybe make your fullbacks more attacking, you can just use the D-pad tactics whenever you want to send them up the pitch. So you could just put attacking fullbacks on, and there you go. So I just leave them on stay back while attacking, so I have more control over them. So you're probably wondering, what can you do to this formation if you are losing and you want to score a few more goals? So obviously the very basic one is if you're desperately in need of a goal, you can go for constant pressure, but just keep in mind that this will tire your players out, so you don't want to use it all the time, but obviously this is a very broken tactic. Another thing you can do is slightly increase the depth. So let's say you wanted to push higher up the pitch, you could put it up to like 70 or something like that. And then regarding player instructions, the things you can do is you could maybe put your cams on stay forward, so they constantly stay, you know, in attack, and then you always have 5 attackers there, 4 attackers there. You could also flick your left back and right back to join the attack, so you know they overlap the attacking players, and you can pretty much have like 6 or 7 players in attack. But again, that is down to preference. I just leave them on stay back while attacking, but obviously if you need a goal, that might change. Another thing you can do is in your tactics, you can maybe put it to fast build up and forward runs or something like that. But again, you don't want to rely on this too much, because you know if you go with these tactics, you know, like right off the start, you're probably gonna lose a lot of games because they're just way too attacking minded essentially. But yeah, that is everything for my 4-2-2 custom tactics, guys. If you have enjoyed it or found it useful, I would appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I shall catch you all later. Peace.